Welcome to Chess in English Basics course. I'm Sai, your instructor. So today we're going to see and learn chess. So what you're looking at in front is the chessboard. So the chessboard has 64 squares. So there's 8 vertical and 8 horizontal. So if you add this up, you will get 64 squares. And out of the 64 squares, you can notice that there is a black square and a light square. So the black square is called as the dark square, and the light square is called as the light square. So we have totally 64 squares. We have names for these squares. So this one is called as the A file, B file, C file, D file, E file, F file, G file, and H file. Okay, and then we have ranks. So we call this first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank, sixth rank, seventh rank, and eighth rank. Okay, so we call this, and each square has its own names. So this square will be called as A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, G1, H1. So like that, each square has a name. So for example, this one will be called as F6 because it's on the F file and it's on the 6th rank. So this square is called as F6. This one will be called as C7, and this one is G7. This one is H7. This one is H8, A8, and so forth. So as you're getting familiarized with chess, you will be able to understand this. Now, the next thing to note is when you're setting up the chessboard, make sure that to your right hand or to the right hand side, you should notice the light square. So this diagonal will be on the right square for both white and black. So this side is white. So white's right hand side will be a light square. Similarly for black's right hand side will be a light square. So this is how you should figure out if you have kept the board properly. Okay, so if you have kept the board properly, then on the right you will notice a light square. Okay, it should not be a dark square. Now, so the next thing is, let's talk about pieces. So chess has 32 pieces. So white has 16 pieces, black has 16 pieces, so totally 32 pieces. And each piece has its own value and a name. So these will be called as pawns. Okay, they all look similar, so we call them pawns. Pawns are foot soldiers. So white has 8 pawns, black has 8 pawns. Okay, so white's pawn are arranged on the second rank. So on the second rank, white's pawns will be arranged. For black, on the 7th rank, black's pawns will be arranged. Okay. Then we have rooks. In the olden days, we call them elephant. So we have rooks, and this one is a knight. This is a bishop, queen, king, and then we have another bishop, knight, and rook. Okay. Similarly for white, we have a rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, and then another bishop, knight, and rook. Rooks are placed on the edge of the board. Then we place knights and then the bishop. So notice we have 2 bishops. One is a light square bishop, another one is a dark square bishop. So a light square bishop will travel on the light squares, a dark color bishop will travel on the dark squares. We will go into this later. Okay. So the next important thing in setting up the board that you have to know is that the black queen should be placed on the dark square and the white queen must be placed on the light square. So that is the way you will know that you have arranged the board and pieces correctly. So to find out how to arrange the pieces and board correctly, your right hand side should be a light square, and then the white queen should be on the white square and the black queen should be on the dark square. Okay, so that's how you understand that you have arranged the board here, in a proper fashion. Okay, so in chess, white always plays first, then black after. So white will make a move e4 because this square is on the e file and it's on the 4th rank. So we call this move e4. Okay. Now that white has played, it's black's turn to play. So black will play e5. Now that black has replied, it's again white's turn to play. So white will make a move, something like knight f3. For pieces, we say the name of the piece. For pawns, we just say the squares. So this move is called as knight f3. So for that, black will play black's reply because now it's black's turn to play. Black will play something like knight c6. Okay, so white plays first, then black will reply, then white will play again, then black will reply. So that's how the game will go. Okay, so white plays first, black after. So the next part we will see how to move the pieces. Okay, so first piece that we're going to look at is the rook. So we've seen how to arrange the pieces. The pawns come first and all those things. Now we're going to look at piece movements. So we have to know how the pieces move so that we can understand the game, right? So this is called as rook. In the ancient times, we call this elephant or towers, depending on where you are at. But the correct chess term is rook. Okay? Rooks move forward and backwards and left and right. So they move horizontally and vertically on all directions. Okay? So that's how rooks will move. So I'm going to show you something. Hold on. One second, guys. /learn. So when you joined the class, I would have given you this link. So, okay. So we are now looking at the Chess app, and I would have shared this link with you. So in this link, if you go back, you will find all the piece movements. So the practice, the homework for today, after you learn the session, you're going to go to this app and you're going to practice the piece movements. So this is how it's going to work. As I said, rook moves forward and backwards, left and right. So they go horizontally and vertically. So in Chess app, you can practice the rook movements like this. So you need to go to the star. You need to capture the star. So the rook will go capture. Okay. Next, it has to capture these two stars. So the rook will come here, then like this. Similarly, rook will go here, here, and here. And as you can notice, rooks are traveling. How are they traveling? They're traveling vertically and horizontally, right? Okay, so I won't be going more into this. You can practice at home. But yes, so be sure to look at all the links that I've given. So the rooks move vertically and horizontally, and basically this rook goes like this. On all the green squares, it can travel. Okay, if there is an enemy piece over here, if there's an opponent's piece on a black piece, for example, then we can capture the piece because it's on the same rank, or it would be on the same file. So if the enemy piece is on our attacking range or on the range of our control, then we can capture the piece. Okay, like this we can capture. And similarly, if the pawn was somewhere like this or like this, then we can capture like this. But this pawn is not in our attacking range, right? So this pawn is not in our attacking range. The pawn on G2 is not on our attacking range. So to capture this pawn, we need to first play like this, and then the next move after black's turn, we can capture the pawn. So you can practice rook movements if you have a chessboard. If not, practice on Chess app on how to move the rook. It's one of the most powerful piece on the chess game. So make sure you practice. The next thing you should know is that if you have your own piece, so for example, if there was a pawn over here, and let me remove the other pieces. Okay, so we need to capture the enemy's piece, which is over here. Okay, but in between, our pawn is stuck in between. So we won't be able to jump and capture. That is not allowed. So if we want to capture this pawn, then we need to make a route. So we should go here, then capture. So we cannot. So it will take us 3 moves. Of course, I did not mention the black's reply, but it will take us 3 moves to capture. One sec. Sorry, I was on a call. So that's how the rook movements will work. So I'm going to wait 1 second. I'm going to check why they called me. Let's see here. Hold on, guys. So in the meantime, if you have Lichess open, then practice. I'm going to give you a on puzzle homework, okay? So you can actually screenshot and do this. So I'm going to keep rooks. I'm going to keep a bunch of pawns. And I'm going to keep enemies' pawns. So this is illegal. This is not how a game will play, but I've just kept it for a random reason. So your goal should be to capture all the pawns. Okay, so I will, you guys can think. In the meantime, I will be back. All right, so I'm back. So this is not a real position, it's just an imaginary position. So I'm going to show you how to capture all the pawns. So if we want to capture this pawn over here, then we should just go here, then capture. Then we can come back, go here, capture, 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 come here, capture, 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 capture. So this is how rooks move. That was just a hypothetical position. So if parents, if you're listening, maybe you can keep some assorted positions like this, and then keep enemies black opponent pieces, and you can ask your child to capture, and that's a good way of training piece movements. Okay. So with all that said, let's look at before we go to the next thing. I want to show you guys one more thing. 1 second. So I'm going to teach you. Let's keep the original position. So we're going to talk a little bit about annotations and the names. Let me write this. Okay. Okay. You guys can see it, right? Pretty good, right? All right. So king, so we have king, this is the king. We have a white king and a black king. Kings will be written as K. This is for annotation purposes. So if you have a notebook and pen, you should write this down. And the value for the king is priceless. The king is a priceless piece. It has unlimited price. Then we have the queen. The value for the queen is written as Q. So in writing chess annotations, you should write Q. The value for the queen is 9 points. But the points will depend on the position. So the points will depend on the position. But generally, the value of a queen is 9 points. Then we have rook. So the value of rook, so for rook we write as R. And the value of rook is 5 points. Okay. Then after that we have a bishop. We have bishops. So the value of a bishop is 3 points. And we write bishop with a capital B. Okay. Then we have the knight. But in the annotation, we write capital N. And the knight also is valued at 3 points. So a knight value is 3 points. And then finally, we have pawn. We don't write any letters for pawn, we just write the square. So if it's whatever the square that pawn is going to go, we just write the square of that thing. but we don't write capital P, so that's not correct. Okay. 1 second, guys. In the meantime, please note this down. And the pawn's value is 1 point. We do not write P. So P, so you should not write capital P or any P. So this is not right. So I'm going to cut that out. Wait a minute. Okay. So these are the value of the pieces. So all the pawns are 1 points. So I hope you're writing this down. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to write this down, because it will be useful for you down the line. Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys noted it down. You can always watch these videos again, so you can repeat them, because it will all stay in Facebook, so you can watch them again in case if you don't understand something. Please do watch as many times as possible. That's why we have all the recorded sessions of our classes for later use. Please do so, okay? Please watch as many as you can. All right, so with that said, the pawns, each pawn value is 1 point. So this pawn value is 1, this is 1, 1, and so forth. The value of a single rook is 5 points. The value of a single knight is 3 points. A single bishop is 3 points. The queen is 9 points, and the king is the most important piece, so it doesn't have a value. Important things don't have value because they're priceless. Okay, so you have seen the rook. The next piece you're going to look at is the bishop. I'm going to keep 2 bishops. So every operand, every player has 2 bishops, white and black, and each bishop is either in the light square or a dark square. So this bishop is called as a dark square bishop, and this is a light square bishop. The light square bishop will travel on the light squares, on all the white squares, right? So on all these squares, the bishops will travel. And the way bishop travels is bishops travel diagonally, like a cross sign. So like a cross, bishops will travel diagonally. Bishops will not go forward or backwards or sideways. So a bishop will not travel diagonally or vertically. A bishop will only travel diagonally. So like a cross sign, bishop will travel diagonally, and the bishop can go further and backwards. So the bishop can go here, and it can also come here. It can also go here. It can go here. So the bishop is a versatile piece. But the only limitation is if this bishop can only travel on the light squares. It cannot travel on the dark square. So this bishop cannot and will not travel on the dark square. Similarly, this bishop also travels diagonally, but only on the dark squares. So this bishop will not travel on the light squares, and it will not travel like a rook. So this bishop will not travel like a rook. It will only travel diagonally. Okay, and it can go forwards, backwards, sideways, any it can go like like this, or any direction. There's no limitation for the bishop. Okay, so let me remove one of the bishops and let's keep some pawns. Okay, so if we ask the question, what is this bishop, what are the squares this bishop has control over, then we can say all these squares. You can highlight these squares. So the bishop can go here, here, or on these places. The bishop cannot travel here because bishops cannot jump across another piece. But since this is the opponent's piece, the bishop can capture it. Okay? Chess pieces, except for the knight, cannot jump across other pieces. Only the knight has a special power of jumping across other pieces. All other pieces will not jump. But this bishop can capture the pawn. So this bishop over here can capture the enemy's piece. You cannot capture your own piece, so it cannot go here. So the bishop cannot go here because you cannot capture your own piece and you cannot go there. So this likewise, if you want to capture this pawn, sorry guys, I'm back. So if you want to capture this pawn, then you will not be able to do directly because our pawn is in between. So this pawn is blockading our attack range. So you cannot jump and attack. So if you want to attack this pawn, then we must first push the white pawn and then clear the space, then we can capture. Okay? And if we want to capture this pawn, it's not in our attacking range, it's not in our diagonal. So we need to move where we can attack it. So we should just move over here. Then this pawn becomes in our attacking range, and the next move after black's reply, we can capture it. So that's the bishop. Similarly for this, we have lichess. Bishop moves diagonally. So we have the training thing for you. So this should be your homework, okay? Now, every student who have joined, I've always given them these things, but many of you did not practice. That's why I had to start this extra batch. So the bishop moves diagonally. As you can see, you can capture here, here, capture, capture, capture. Yeah, so you can practice like this. So the bishop movements, you can practice on lichess. I would have given the link. If not, I'll give the link again so that you can practice. So please practice how to move the pieces with the lichess app. If you do the extra work, the extra homework that is given, you can get to the regular batch very fast. If not, it's going to take you a long time. And I can, as a teacher and as a coach, I can only guide you to a degree. I cannot hold your hands. And this is the same whether you're coming for offline classes or direct classes. It's up to the student and the parent to also take this required necessary steps. So if parents, if you're listening, then please guide your child in helping them do this. And if your students listening, then please practice. Only through practice you can get to the next level. If you do not practice, then all this training will be of no use to you. So please practice. Okay, if you practice well, you can become really strong players, and you can even travel the world and do so many other fun stuff. So that's the bishop. Please practice. And next piece we're going to look at is the queen. A queen valued 9 points is a combination of a bishop and a rook. So the queen can move, horizontally and vertically, up and down like a plus sign. At the same time, the queen also has the special power of traveling diagonally. So the queen can travel diagonally and can move like a rook. So a queen is basically a combination of a bishop and a rook. Okay, so the queen can go here, can travel. So the queen has so much leverage. So it can go on all these squares that I'm marking out for you. So that's why the queen is the most powerful piece, because it can control so many squares. You should always keep your queen safe. Do not bring it to attack, without proper planning. Now, how does a queen capture? Well, the queen captures enemy piece that's on the same rank. So, for example, let's keep these things, right? Okay. So I'm going to highlight the squares the queen can go on, so that you guys can get a clear advantage. Okay. The queen, if it wants to come here, it cannot come because the piece is blocking. So only the knight can jump other pieces. Other pieces like bishop and king and everything else cannot jump. So if we want to go here to this square, then we have to first capture the pawn, then move. Or alternately, we can take a longer route. So we can go there and then come here. Okay. So what pawns can we capture? Well, So this pawn is in our attacking range, in the range of the queen, and similarly this pawn and this pawn. So we can capture any of these pawns because they're all in our way of movement or attack. So we can capture this pawn, then we can go here and capture this guy, and then capture this guy. So, but if the pawn was, say, in a hypothetical position, let's say if it was like this, then we won't be able to capture this pawn. To capture this pawn, we have to be in our range. Okay, so if you want to capture this pawn, we need to first go somewhere like this so that it's now in the attacking range, then we can capture it. Okay, the next piece we're going to look at today is the king. King is similar to the queen, but it does not have the full power. Queen can go on all directions, and so can the king. But the king can only go one square at a time. So this king can only go one square at a time on all directions. It cannot, if the queen, for example, can travel much further, right? So the queen can travel all the way here, but that is not possible with the king. So let's keep the queen for a moment. I'm going to place the queen. So if we take the queen can travel the whole diagonal. And you can go, further and further. Right? So the queen has so many squares it has under its control. Okay? But the king does not. The king can only go one square at a time, but on any direction. So the king can go here, 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 or here, or here. So the king can go on any direction, but only one square at a time. That is one place where the rule is, there's an exception, but we will see that later. So for now, the king movements is that the king goes one square at a time on all directions. Okay? So let's go back. Now, if you go back to Lead Chess, you can see that you can practice your queen movement as well as the king movement. So if you click on this, you can practice the queen movements. Okay? And this is the web version. So the app may not have these things. So go to the web version of Lead Chess. I've shared the link. I'll share it again. And then if you go king, you can practice how the king will move. King will go only one step. Boom. If you just practice this, you will become a very good player pretty soon. Okay? So we have seen the rook, the bishop, the queen, and the king. In the next class tomorrow, we will see the knight and the pawn. Okay? The homework is that you have to go to Lead Chess and practice, get all the stars, and practice how to do it. So this should be your homework for today. And if you have any doubts, let me know so that I will address that in the next class. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Bye bye.